What if I told you that you could build professional React components and websites and deploy them to production in minutes instead of hours? Well, that's what Vercel promises, and today I'm going to show you whether it actually delivers as I take you from creation of a web application all the way to completion step by step. So to get started, navigate to v0.dev. And of course, you're going to need to sign up. Over here, you'll see the V0 chat window. You can interact with it just as with any AI tool through natural language. You'll see a number of options that you can use in order to get started more quickly. For example, you can clone a screenshot, import from Figma, upload a project, create a landing page, or create a sign-up form, for example, or you can do something a little bit more unique. And so let's try to do a landing page. So for us, let's go ahead and create a landing page. I'm actually going to benefit myself a little bit. And I do have a small company called Nice Properties where we have some rental properties that we manage. And so I want to create a website for that. And so here are the instructions that I am providing to V0 in order to create this landing page. We can also select how intelligent V0 by selecting the different models. And in fact, here you'll see that different models will create different kinds of outputs and they have different kinds of costs, right? So the medium one is for everyday tasks and UI generation, and you can see the costs related there. And then you can see that this large model is actually very expensive at $7.5 per million tokens and 37.5 per 1 million output tokens. So let's keep it at a medium and this should work well. We're going to hit enter and then watch the magic happen. And so here we go. It's beginning to generate this landing page. As you see here, we can see the output and there's a thinking process on the left-hand side. And on the right-hand side, we will actually see a preview. We will see the code that is being generated. And as the code is being generated, we will get different versions that are created by V0, which I really like. So what it allows you to do is basically iterate on the application, right? So depending on the complexity of the task, the software developed may be correct or it may be not correct, or maybe you may want to make some tweaks to it. And usually the very first version is not the ideal one. And so we'll want to iterate on it afterwards. And so that's why you can have a number of different iterations and every iteration is going to be a version. And if at some point you go down a rabbit hole, you can always go back to a previous version and pick up where you left off. You can see the code that's being generated over here on the right-hand side in the code tab, and in the preview tab, you'll see exactly what's happening. When the website is completed, you'll see the exact design. If you want, when we're ready, we're going to deploy this to Vercel. We can also share this chat with anybody that we want by clicking share and deciding whether we want to make this chat available to others, whether we want to make it totally public, or and so on. We can also fork this into a new chat and we can change different kinds of settings. We can set environment variables. We can integrate it with other tools such as Supabase or AI services such as XAI. We can also connect it to a branch and pull this into GitHub so that now we can integrate this between maybe GitHub and maybe pull this code down into Cursor, write some automated tests, and have a continuous integration pipeline that's going between Cursor and V0. So what you will see here is the website that has been generated by V0 for us. Let's take a look at it. I mean, it looks pretty good to me. There's definitely a lot of text here because this is not a SaaS. So maybe in my original instructions, I left the SaaS part in there, but let's take a look at the website in general. I'll be honest, from using V0 for a number of months now, I really love its UI designs. From my experience, V0 is one of the best, if not the best, tools at designing UIs. I'm still experimenting with a bunch of different UI, with a bunch of different vibe coding tools, but so far V0 has been my favorite. So yeah, I mean, this is definitely a really, really nice website. Look how fantastic the UI is. It's certainly a SaaS app. They wasn't meant to be a SaaS app for me. However, for our purposes of getting started here, it works. You do see here that down here, there's potentially some UI issues of stuff overlapping, which we may or may not want to fix. And so if we did want to fix any of this, we can continue the conversation. As you can see here, there are other suggestions here of what we can do. For example, we can add a contact form if we wanted to. The contact form, you can do what we want with it. It can be a typical React contact form that we design ourselves. We can even integrate it with something like a HubSpot integration so that then it's going back into our CRM, which I previously have done and I really liked. Look, you can do a property showcase. How awesome is that? It even understands from our context of what we're talking about here. And I actually really like that. Let's add a property showcase just to see what it looks like. All right, so let's check out the update here. What is it? Properties managed with nice properties. This is really good. I love it. This is really, really nice. All we have to do is upload an image, but look, it's basically supplying the location, the cost, some tags for it, and then some information, and then showing what we have available. This is really fantastic. I also want to make one more change, and I want to show you all how changes can be made through more iterations with this application. So I've put in some text here telling V0 what our application is actually meant to do. And that's not a SaaS app, it's a service, and that we can be contacted by partners and investors that want to invest with us in properties for long-term buy and hold, or we can have individuals reach out to us for long-term rental property management. And also, so we can also upload a file, right? And so I'm going to upload our logo that we have here and ask V0 to update the styling. Let's go ahead and give this a shot. While V0 generates, let's take a look at the pricing. So there is a free option for you looking to explore. So if you're just getting started, you can use the free option and get all of this access. At $20 per month, you get $20 of included monthly credits. Not really sure what that means and how many credits that is. You can purchase additional credits outside of your monthly usage and 5 times higher attachment size. And then you can access other models. I believe that this is the version that I am on, is the premium, because I don't remember having to pay for additional credits outside of current monthly usage yet. So I do believe that I am here. And of course, there's enterprise, which will be for large organizations. Oh, and here they basically show what it looks like to use the different kinds of models and how far your $30 will go. And perfect, here we go. Actually, we've discovered where you can see the credit information is right here, monthly credits. This is how many I have left for the month, which is actually really good. This month I've used V0, I would say a few days out of the month. And I'm glad to see that I have about 23 credits left and it's the end of the month. I wonder whether I actually get this to use this by the end of the month. All right, here we go. Here is the updated website. I already like it a lot more. The logo is certainly too small. However, check out what it did on top, how it put our social credibility of being around since 2017 with a 10 out of 10 NPS score. And it basically put a nice headline up here, longer text down here. Talked a bit about us, 2 ways to grow your real estate portfolio. Yes, investing partnerships or nationwide management. And then it provides information. This is really, really amazing. And I like it a lot. And it has some great call to actions. Everything here is actually looking really fantastic. So this is not meant to be a full development tutorial. Let's go ahead and actually publish this to production so that it's available for everybody. And that part is actually really easy. Of course, it's very valuable for Vercel to make publishing to their cloud provider extremely easy, because if you publish to the cloud provider, of course, they then get to charge you for any traffic that is generated. And that is probably their model that makes the majority of the revenue. And so with that, it's extremely easy to deploy to production. You can see how easy it is just by clicking a button. This is going to start deploying everything to production. I can click here and view it on Vercel. These are the logs, and we'll give it a moment to go ahead, follow the process here so that it can deploy, and then we'll get a URL, and I'll even show you how to update that URL so that you can make it more friendly for your website. All right, here we go. That was a few seconds, less than a minute for sure. You can see that here is our latest link. We can pull it up, and this is what it looks like. Certainly, there are a number of changes to be made, and I'll make those changes afterwards, but you can see here is the website. It honestly looks fantastic. I used to use WordPress for any kind of like no code, low code web development, because developing websites and being part of that process, I know how much more costly developing a website is versus using something like a WordPress. These days, I significantly prefer using something like a V0 to develop a website and then just modify it using the AI. And it's significantly faster and significantly cheaper, of course, as well. Now, if you want to update the domain, let me show you how to do that. You can come over here and say add a domain. And so here you can add a domain that you like. It'll be at .vercel.app. But if you wanted to install your own custom domain, you can do that as well. But for nice, for now, we can just create a nice URL here and we can do nice properties.vercel. Beautiful. And so here's our latest URL. We can visit the site. Look how fast it also updates the URL as well. And so here is our nice properties website. I love it. It's really good. It's not perfect, but for how quickly we generated everything, it's pretty fantastic. Okay, let me show you a few more options here about V0 that I think are important. Of course, you can refresh the website just in case that you make any kind of changes. If you have numerous pages to your website, you can access them here, right? Maybe you have an app website, or you have, I don't know, a contact us page that you want to access. You can access that here and it'll navigate between the different pages. This right here is a cool feature that I really like, is you can select certain components, for example, our logo, and we can ask to enlarge this logo. Yeah, it's certainly a little bit larger. We can work on that and make it even bigger. That can be fixed. There are other options. You can download the source code. As I mentioned, you can link it to GitHub, and now you can create a CI/CD environment. And then the other part to show you here is the version history. Right now we are on version 4, which has the larger logo. If you wanted to go back to version 3, there's the smaller logo. And so that's how you can find that. And you can deploy different versions. If for whatever reason you went off track and got into a rabbit hole, which can happen, you can select that different version. The final piece of information to show you here is the console. Now, our application doesn't have any kind of interactions that are going on. It doesn't really make any kind of web requests anywhere. It doesn't have any kind of integrations. But if it did, you can pull up this console and you could see different kinds of errors popping up, different kinds of messages popping up, and you can use that in order to troubleshoot anything that's going on with V0 and your application. So what do you think about V0? Is it something that you would use? Have you used it? And what has been your experience? And have you used other vibe coding tools? And what has been your experience with those? Have you found something better with V0? Because I'm currently experimenting and I would love to know if you found something better than that. Otherwise, I've been Nikolay, part of UltimateQA. Thank you so much for joining me. It's been such a pleasure. Have a sensational day. Peace.